I built a mobile app several months ago and it has been live on the Google Play Store ever since then. And now I'm going to see how much money I made in the last 4 months from that mobile app. Okay, so it's loading right now and it says I have made... Hey everyone, FinTech here. Today, we're going to look at how much money I made from building a mobile app in 2020. I documented the process of building this app in the first 2 videos that I released on this channel. Now, you can go back and watch those if you want, but fair warning, they're not the highest quality since they were my first videos, but there is a lot of information in there. To give you a quick summary of what this app did, it was basically a vocab app for studying for the GRE. Now, if you've taken college admissions tests like the SAT or the ACT in the United States, the GRE is kind of like that, but for graduate school. For this app, I basically created a dictionary of words from scratch. I built the UI using Flutter, and I used a backend in AWS. Once I built the app and had the basic functionality working, I then proceeded to monetize the app by adding 2 different types of ads to the app. The first were banner ads, which would appear on the bottom of the page while you were studying the different vocab words. The second were full-page interstitial ads, which would pop up every once in a while you were interacting with the app. Now, I tried to put these in areas where I felt like they wouldn't be disruptive to someone studying, but in general, they do fill up your whole screen, so they're going to be more eye-catching than a banner ad. I just wanted to call out the 2 different types of ads that I used, because once I actually look at the AdMob console, which shows how much money I've made, it's going to break down how much I earned from each ad unit type. Now, I realize that just throwing some ads into an app is not the best way to monetize, and in my earlier 2 videos, I talked about some other ways that I would like to monetize in the future. For example, selling vocab expansion packs, or maybe selling a version of the app which takes out the ads. Another good option could be to get users to create user accounts using their emails so that I could then push different offers to their emails. I also could add push notifications into the app itself to keep user engagement high. I've wanted to make these improvements for a while, but I've just been too busy between work and making YouTube videos that I haven't really gotten around to it. Maybe if this video gets enough engagement, I'll go back and add some of these different changes, but let me know what you think in the comments. And I guess now is as good a time as any to remind anybody who's watching this to please subscribe if you're into these kinds of videos. Around 92% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and yet they're watching multiple of my videos in a row. So if you enjoy this kind of content, just go ahead and subscribe. It'll be easier to find in the future. Once I see exactly how much money I've made from each type of ad unit, I can then go ahead and calculate my CPM, or cost per mile. This basically means how much is each ad paying me per 1,000 times it's shown to somebody. I can also use this data to maybe optimize the ads a little bit better. Maybe I show the banner ad a little bit more or a little bit less, or maybe I show the interstitial ad more. Additionally, I can potentially use this information to decide if it's worth advertising my app to other places. It costs money to get users to download your app in the first place, but if you're not making enough money from the app per user, it's not really worth it. So that would be interesting to look into. So that's pretty much all the background. Let's now dive into how much money I've made from these ads. Now I can do this by looking it up in the AdMob console, which I'll do right now. Okay, so I have here the Google AdMob console pulled up. I don't really expect too much in terms of earnings for the last couple months because Google only pays you out when you make over $100, and I haven't been paid out yet, so I know I'm at least under the $100 threshold. I also haven't looked at these statistics since a couple days after setting it up just to make sure it was working, so I really don't know exactly what to expect. So let me sign in. Okay, so it's loading right now, and it says I have made $0 this month. So let's go to reports to look at this over the entire time period. Okay, now let's check how much I made in the last 4 months. So I set up a filter to look at just the footer and the interstitial ad unit, and oh my god. So for the footer, I had 106 impressions, and I made 57 cents for the last 4 months. And so for the interstitial, that full page ad that pops up, I had only 7 impressions, which made me a grand total of 1 cent. For a total of earnings of 58 cents over the last 4 months. So clearly I need to monetize better. Okay, you know what? Let's see if I can see how many active users I have. Let me go to the Google Play console. It looks like I have 6 active users right now, with 4 of those in the United States, 1 in Iran, and 1 in Rwanda. Well, of the 4 in the United States, at least 2 of them I think are my old phone and my new phone. And then I'm guessing the other 2 are probably my mom. So shout out to my mom and my big fans in Iran and Rwanda for using my app. Okay, so There isn't that much data to work with right here, but we can still use this to get an estimate of my CPM. So all we have to do is we have to take the estimated earnings, divide it by the number of impressions I have, and then multiply by 1,000 to estimate how much I would have gotten paid for 1,000 impressions. So if I do that for my footer ad, I'm actually getting a CPN of around $5.38, which is actually really high for just a small ad that appears on the bottom of the screen. I wonder if that's just because I have so little data that it seems higher than it really should be. But when I looked online, it looked like most of the banner ad CPNs were around $1. So this is 5 times higher than that. So then for the interstitial, if I do the same calculation, so 1 cent divided by 7 times 1,000. So for the interstitial, I'm getting a CPM of around $1.43. Which is actually lower than most interstitials that I've seen online. It looks like most of those online pay between $3 and $3.50 or maybe $4. So that's interesting. I'm getting paid way higher for the footer than I would expect and a lot lower for the interstitial. Granted, there's not much data here, so it might just not be that accurate. So what did we learn today? Well, first off, I guess we learned that nobody's using my app, but I mean, that's kind of expected. I didn't advertise it anywhere. I also learned that in its current form, it would be a huge waste of money to try to advertise my app because it would cost me way more money in advertisements to gain users than I would get back from having more users in the app. I'm only making around 10 to 15 cents per active user on my app. And when I look up how much money it costs to gain an active user on a mobile app, it looks like it costs around $3.50 on average to get a user to register, and more like $70 per user to get them to actually buy an item in the app. So imagine if I paid $35 to get 10 more users, and I would only earn $1.50 from them. It just wouldn't make any sense. So if the app isn't good enough to advertise in its current form, that leaves me with the question of, should I try to better monetize the app? Now, I would do this by adding in-app purchases, creating user accounts, and using push notifications. If this is a project you'd be interested in seeing me making a video, or probably a series of videos on, let me know in the comments. It would definitely be a pretty big chunk of work, and I would only want to do it if people are actually interested in the process. At this point, I'm still totally on the fence on whether or not I would actually go forward with this. I also originally built this app in such a way that it would be easy to make a version for the iPhone, so that would also just be a little bit extra effort to make an iPhone version. So that would also be a future improvement that I would make. Maybe then I could make a video comparing iPhone and Android user monetization. I don't really know, I'm just throwing out ideas. But again, let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear any more about this project or if you'd like me to take this project further in the future. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. And if you don't want to miss out on any future videos like this in the future, make sure to both subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll see you next time.